For us, sex is private. Desire, tenderness, choice. For Sparta, it was logistics, a controlled function of the state, calculated with the same cold precision as a battle line. The goal was not romance, not comfort, not the soft idea of starting a family. The goal was simple and terrifying: to manufacture weapons in human form. To understand how far they went, you have to tear down the myth. Forget the slow-motion capes, the oiled muscles, the freedom speeches written 2,000 years later. Sparta was not a motivational poster. Sparta was a survival algorithm with a shield and a spear. They were few. Their slaves and enemies were many. Every decision was shaped by that math. Conclusion: if every citizen must be a soldier, then every womb, every bed, every coupling must serve the phalanx. Marriage in Sparta was not a love story. It was statecraft. The guardians of law, the ephors, and above them the Gerousia, a council of hardened elders, did not ask, "Who do you love?" They asked, "What will this union produce?" Young men and women were evaluated like bloodstock: height, frame, endurance, family record in war, no visible deformities, scars that spoke of courage, not frailty. Beauty mattered, but only as a symptom. Clear skin, good bones, strong teeth, signs that the body could carry armor or bear it. A tall hoplite from a decorated line, plus a strong-hipped, broad-shouldered woman, equals state-approved genetic investment. Your body was not your own. If you were one of the Spartiates, the full citizens, your flesh belonged to the polis. You were expected to offer it in war, and before that, to offer it in bed. A man's seed was counted like iron. A woman's fertility was a strategic resource. The language of feeling was replaced by arithmetic. How many sons, how many fit, how many shields filled. And here comes the twist outsiders often mistake for freedom. Spartan women were not shut away. They ran, they wrestled, they threw the javelin, raced in short tunics that scandalized other Greeks. Not because Sparta believed in equality in our sense, but because strong mothers make strong infants. Muscle and lung capacity became part of state policy. From childhood, they were told, your womb is your battlefield. To die in childbirth for a healthy son was honor. To give Sparta a future hoplite was glory. Choosing your partner because your heart burned for them. Cute idea that belonged to softer cities, weaker laws. Sparta burned that luxury out. This was the first creed of Spartan reproduction. The individual is nothing. The bloodline of warriors is everything, except that, and the horrors that follow no longer look like madness. They look like procedure. In most Greek cities, marriage was a negotiation between families, with at least the illusion of choice. In Sparta, that illusion was stripped away. The state did not merely bless unions, it engineered them. The men who decided were not poets or priests. They were magistrates and elders of the Gerousia, veterans whose bones ached with old campaign scars, men who believed tenderness was a strategic weakness. When they looked at a young couple, they did not see romance. They saw bone structure. A boy approached adulthood. Did he stand straight under the shield? Were his calves and shoulders promising? Did his father fall bravely at Thermopylae, at Plataea, at some nameless skirmish in Messenia? The answer decided his value as a stud, not as a husband. A girl came of age. Did Did she run faster, shout louder, throw further than her peers? Broad hips, strong thighs, clear eyes, no lingering illness, no visible frailty. She was measured like a living cradle for future hoplites. The pairings followed a brutal kind of arithmetic. A proven warrior with a barren wife? Problem. Across town, a fertile, powerful woman married to a quiet older man of good standing. Solution. In Sparta's logic, the womb mattered more than the ring. So quietly, legally, sometimes even ceremonially, the state allowed borrowed husbands. A respected fighter could be instructed or invited to lie with another man's wife. This was not scandal. This was policy. The husband who agreed was not humiliated. He was praised. A strong child born under his roof, whoever the biological father, raised the honor of his oikos and the strength of the city. Paternity blurred. Loyalty was redirected away from household and toward the collective. Desire had a place, but only as fuel. The rituals around marriage were designed to keep encounters intense, controlled, and rare. Brief night visits, secrecy, stolen time from the barracks, enough to conceive, not enough to grow attached. Was it truly so clinical? Our main witnesses, Xenophon, Plutarch, wrote decades or centuries later, polishing anecdotes into systems. But behind the exaggerations stands a hard core of truth. Sparta was willing to bend marriage, sex, and fatherhood to one purpose. The message was unmistakable. You do not marry for yourself. You do not sleep for yourself. You do it for the phalanx. And if your heart objects, Sparta does not negotiate with hearts. It drafts them into service or grinds them down. If the Spartan man was the spear, the Spartan woman was the forge. Other Greek cities hid their women indoors, behind courtyards and veils. Sparta threw its girls into the sun. To an Athenian visitor, it looked like madness. Young women running in short tunics, thighs bare, hair unbound, shouting, wrestling, singing war songs. To Sparta, it was math again. A weak mother cannot bear a strong son. Therefore, no weak mothers. From childhood, Spartan girls trained. They ran races in the dust beside their brothers. They wrestled in pairs, muscles straining, learning how a body moves, how it falls, how it endures. They hurled the javelin. They danced in vigorous choruses. They ate better than most Greek women would ever dream. Not because the city loved them, because the city needed what their bodies could do. A woman who survived hard exercise, cold, heat, strict diet, Sparta believed would conceive hardier children. The uterus became strategic terrain. The state entered it with ideas instead of instruments, but the invasion was total. They were taught to speak sharply, too. Spartan women are remembered for their cutting phrases, short, lethal, like their husbands' spears, with your shield, or on it. Come back with victory, or do not come back. These lines are not just legend. They are the distilled voice of an education that fused motherhood with military discipline. And here lies the disturbing brilliance. Many of them believed Spartan women could own land. They managed estates while men lived in barracks or marched abroad. They had more visible presence than their sisters in Athens. Outsiders mistook that for liberation. But their status, their education, their boldness, all curved back into the same purpose: produce, raise, and glorify warriors. Your worth is the sons you give the city. Your shame is barrenness. Your virtue is hardness. Love is allowed if it does not interfere. Grief is tolerated if it does not question. A Spartan mother who wept too much risked ridicule. A mother who rejoiced that her boy died bravely embodied the ideal. Was every woman like this? Of course not. Behind the slogans there were fears, stillbirths, private tears. But the system did not care for individual softness. It weaponized the strong ones as examples and shamed the rest into silence. In this world, the mothers of iron are not sentimental figures. They are officers in a reproductive campaign. And in their hardened pride, the next cruelty is made possible. Because when the child finally arrives, Sparta has one more test. The child is born. In most of the ancient world, this is where the story softens. Midwives smile, the father boasts, the mother holds the tiny wrinkled stranger and whispers promises. In Sparta, the first embrace is delayed. The infant does not go from womb to breast, but from women's hands to men's eyes. To the Gerousia, the Council of Elders, veterans whose youth was spent in blood and bronze, whose old age is earned by not dying where others fell. They gather in a public place, a kind of cold civic shrine, to decide whether this new Spartiate is a future shield in the line or a liability. Sparta called it inspection. We would call it a trial. They stripped the child bare. No amulets, no soft wrappings, naked flesh under hard daylight. They turn the tiny body, prod joints, watch the chest rise, listen to the cry. Are the limbs straight, spine true? Does the baby grip with stubborn fingers, howl with healthy rage? Or is there some flaw? Clubfoot, twisted leg, sickly color, unsteady breath that hints at trouble ahead. The standard is not compassion. The standard is campaign marching weight, shield weight, spear weight. A strong infant is accepted. The family keeps him. Land is registered in his name. From that moment, he is not simply a son. He is a pending asset, a future hoplite whose life is already mapped. Agoge at 7, mess hall at 20, full citizenship at 30. If he fails, Sparta does not sharpen a knife beside the cradle. That would be too intimate. Instead, they clothe their cruelty in distance. Sources tell us of the apothetai, a chasm on the slopes of Taigeto. Whether a single cliff or a broader practice, the idea is clear enough. The unfit child is carried from the city, away from walls and hearth. There, on stone and scrub, he is left, not stabbed, not strangled, abandoned. Wolves cold, hunger, time itself finish what the elders began. To Spartan logic, they have not murdered. They have returned an imperfect offering to nature, a sacrifice to the survival of the group. We can question the details. Ancient authors loved horror. But even if we have the stories, the pattern stands. Sparta formalized a choice most societies made in shame and shadow. The message to every parent is unmistakable. Your love is conditional. Your child lives by committee. From his first breath, his body is less yours than Sparta's. Sparta did not merely encourage childbirth, it conscripted it. Once a child survived inspection, the message to his parents was clear. Do it again. One strong infant was a success. A line of them was a civic obligation. In a polis permanently outnumbered by its slaves and rivals, every new warrior was a wall stone. Every missing warrior was a crack. For the Spartan male, fatherhood was not a tender role, but a quota. A man of age without a wife was not unlucky in love. He was suspicious. Why had he not contributed to the files of future hoplites? What was wrong with him? Cowardice, impotence, selfishness. The state turned private delay into public crime. Laws and customs codified the pressure. Remaining unmarried past the expected age meant humiliation. During festivals, bachelors could be paraded, mocked, even forced to circle the agora in winter almost naked, singing about their failure. It was not playful. It was a warning brand burned socially instead of with iron. Behind the theater was a cold calculus. Every citizen soldier consumed training, rations, and the lives of helots who worked his land. To invest all that in a man who produced no heirs was waste. Sparta did not tolerate waste. For women, the arithmetic cut deeper. A Spartiate woman who bore many robust sons walked taller. She could speak sharply in public, manage estates with confidence, trade barbs even with kings. Her status was built on what her womb had delivered to the phalanx. Barrenness, by contrast, was a civic flaw. It could justify taking another woman's body into the marriage equation, a sanctioned breeding arrangement to help where nature had failed. Our sources exaggerate, compress, simplify, but they all converge on this. Sparta treated reproduction as a service contract with clauses, not a mystery of affection. Love might exist. Two people might genuinely care for each other in the cracks of the system, but the system did not care for them back. It rewarded results. It punished gaps. This is where the Spartan experiment edges into something chillingly familiar to later centuries. The idea that the state can and should manage who breeds, how often and with whom, in the name of quality. In Sparta, it wore no laboratory coat. It wore a red cloak and carried a spear, and the children born under that creed were never really theirs. They were already on loan to the next stage of the machine. Imagine you are 7 years old in Sparta. You know little of politics, less of strategy, and nothing of the calculations old men make over wine. You know your mother's hands, your father's shadow in the doorway, the smell of your own hearth. And then, one morning, the city comes to collect its property. This moment was not a surprise. It was a sentence handed down at birth. For boys of full Spartan citizen families, 7 was the age at which family custody expired. The state arrived not with tears, but with procedure. Names called, sons lined up. Mothers were expected not to wail. Plutarch tells us of women who watched their children march away with dry eyes, saving their tears for sons who fled battle, not for sons who entered training. Whether every mother matched the ideal or not, the ideal itself is revealing. Affection, if it must exist, must never outrank duty. From that day, the boy no longer lived at home. He was assigned to an agel, a herd, a unit of boys his age. His new home, bare barracks shared with dozens of others. His new fathers, paidonomoi and instructors, hardened by war, men who believed kindness dulled the edge of courage. The rules of comfort were simple. There would be none. One cloak for all seasons, no shoes to soften the stones, beds plaited from reeds torn up with bare hands along the river Eurotas. Steal too little and you shiver, steal too obviously and you bleed. Food was intentionally scarce. They were fed just below sufficiency, always hovering on the sharp edge of hunger. This was curriculum. The boy learned to endure cold without complaint, blows without tears, insults without sulking. He learned to answer questions quickly, to move as part of a pack, to watch, to listen. The Agoge was not a school. It was a slow disassembly of the child. The message under every order was the same. Your parents brought you into the world, but they do not own you. Sparta does. Older youths set over them enforced discipline with fists and whips. Companionship came laced with fear. The boy who lagged endangered all. The boy who excelled earned favor and responsibility for cruelty. And at the center of it all, an iron promise wrapped in every hardship. If you survive this, you will not be merely a man. You will be a Spartan. Hunger in Sparta was not an accident. It was a lesson. From the moment a boy entered the Agoge, his stomach became part of the curriculum. Official rations were deliberately small. Barley porridge, black broth, a scrap of cheese, a sliver of meat if fortune smiled. Enough to survive, never enough to feel safe. Safety was for other Greeks. A Spartan boy went to sleep thinking of food and woke up hunting it. The state did not forbid him to steal. It ordered him to. Slipping out at night, creeping through storerooms, lifting figs from markets, cheese from shrines, grain from careless helots, raiding neighboring farms, moving like a shadow along courtyard walls. The instructors watched and did nothing. Theft, they said, trained stealth, initiative, audacity. A future hoplite must know how to move unseen, how to live off what he can take behind enemy lines. There was only one unforgivable sin: getting caught. If a boy was discovered with stolen food, the punishment was savage. Beatings with whips or rods until skin split and backs burned. No gentle lecture, no learn from this, son. The message carved itself directly into the flesh. The crime is not stealing. The crime is incompetence. This was Sparta's moral inversion. Other cities taught that lying and theft were wrong. Sparta taught that clumsiness was wrong. Success purified the act. Failure polluted it. Right and wrong were rewritten into efficient and useless. Under this logic, boys became predators in training. They stalked, calculated, tested guards, memorized routines. Hunger stretched their senses. Fear of pain honed their focus. The one who stole well fed his comrades and rose in their respect. The one who failed fed the altar of discipline with his own blood. There was no refuge in denunciation. Telling on another boy for stealing would mark you as weak, treacherous, unfit for brotherhood. The system welded them together in a pact of shared risk and silent complicity. Imagine what that does to a mind. By 15, a successful product of the Agoge had learned to endure hunger without complaint, to take what he needed without hesitation, and to accept violence as normal currency. He did not ask whether something was just. He asked whether it was well executed. They were turning children into lean, calculating animals, wolves who walked on two legs, slept with a cloak for a den, and dreamed not of safety, but of the next test. The phalanx they would one day form began here. In bare feet, empty bellies, and a morality sharpened to a single edge. Win or bleed. By now, the Spartan boy's body has learned its lessons. Endure cold, steal smart, bleed quietly. Next, Sparta comes for his tongue. The word laconic is not poetic coincidence. It is an X-ray of Spartan training. In Laconia, speech was a blade, short, sharp, never wasted. A loose mouth was not charming. It was dangerous. In the Agoge, boys were not encouraged to express themselves. They were trained to weaponize words or swallow them. Instructors and elder youths fired questions like arrows. Who is the bravest man in Sparta? What do you think of the king's last campaign? Is it better to return wounded or not at all? There was rarely a safe answer. Praise the wrong man and you insult another. Criticize a tactic and you hint at arrogance. Sound unsure and you expose weakness. Stay silent too long and you invite pain. The correct response had to be instant, brief, clever, and cold. A single sentence that showed loyalty, judgment, and courage. Anything less? Punishment. Sometimes it was a blow, sometimes a humiliating task. Ancient writers describe instructors even biting the thumb of a slow or foolish boy. A jolt of animal pain to weld thought and caution together. Whether that detail is literal or stylized, it matches the spirit. Every misstep hurts. Silence became armor. Wit became shield. But the most relentless pressure did not come from official masters. It came from the older boys, the Irenes. The system was a pyramid of sanctioned bullying. Seniors commanded juniors, drilled them, starved them, beat them, interrogated them at meals about politics, war, honor. They were not nurturing mentors. They were apprentices in domination, practicing rule the way they had been ruled. You did not simply survive your instructors. You survived your peers. Say something naive. Laughter. A cuff to the head. Say something soft. A kick in the ribs. Say something too bold. A beating to remind you who commands. Under this constant threat, boys learned 3 things. Never show fear. Never show confusion. Never show your true self. Trust was a luxury, affection a liability. To cry was to invite torment. To hesitate was to bleed. To speak without precision was to offer your throat. Sparta called this education. It produced young men who could think under pressure, answer with lethal brevity, read a room full of power and step correctly. Politicians in embryo, officers in training, predators fluent in silence. But something bled out in the process. The instinct to empathize, the habit of open honesty, the idea that words might heal instead of cut. What remained was a mind honed like a spear point, perfect for war, dangerous for everything else. There is one ritual that even hardened Greek observers struggled to believe. They came to Sparta expecting discipline. They did not expect to see boys dying with a smile under the lash of their own city. At the sanctuary of Artemis Orthia, beside the Eurotas, Sparta staged its most honest ceremony. No pretty myths, no gentle hymns, just an altar, some cheese, and the truth about what it meant to be Spartan. Here is how the game worked. Priests and officials placed cheeses on the altar of the goddess. Young Spartans, already tempered by years in the Agoge, lined up barebacked, muscles tight, eyes fixed. Their task was simple in theory. Sprint forward, snatch as many cheeses as they could, and escape. Between the boys and the altar, a wall of older youths armed with whips. They did not hold back. As the signal sounded, the boys ran. Leather cracked, flesh split, stripes blossomed red across shoulders and spines. The air filled with the snap of lashes, the thud of bodies, the scrape of feet on stone. This was not about agility. It was about endurance. A Spartan was not merely asked to take pain. He was asked to embrace it. The boy who flinched, who cried out, who fled the blows, shamed himself. The boy who reached the altar dripping blood, who clung to the cheese while being carved open by the whip, became a living icon. Ancient writers say some died there. Teenagers collapsing at the feet of a stone goddess while the crowd roared approval, not for their death, but for their refusal to scream. Even if the numbers are embroidered, and they probably are, The core is undeniable. Sparta turned public torture of its own youth into holy theater. To outsiders, it was monstrous. To Sparta, it was proof of concept. You want to be called a Spartan? Prove that your skin is nothing. Prove that your nerves answer to law, not instinct. Prove that the fear of pain, that most human of chains, has been broken in you. The cheese was irrelevant, the altar almost incidental. Artemis Orthia, wild goddess of the borderlands, had become an excuse carved in stone. The true object of worship was the ideal, the boy who bleeds without begging. This was graduation day for the Agoge, a public exam with no written answers, only scars, a spectacle that burned the lesson into every watching child. A Spartan body belongs to Sparta. A Spartan cry belongs to no one. Once you can make a boy smile through the whip, what can't you make him do next? You've seen what Sparta did to its children. Now watch what it makes them do in return. Every machine needs a test. For the finest products of the Agoge, that test had a name whispered more than proclaimed. The Crypteia. Forget romantic nonsense about elite commandos on secret missions abroad. The truth, as preserved by ancient sources like Plutarch, is much darker and much closer to home. Here is the outline. Each year, Sparta's top magistrates, the ephors, performed a small ritual act of paperwork with monstrous consequences. They formally declared war on the helots, the enslaved population that worked Spartan land and vastly outnumbered their masters. With a few words, thousands of men, women, and children became, in legal fiction, enemy combatants. Now killing them was not murder. It was policy. Into this sanctioned darkness stepped selected young Spartans, those judged especially sharp, especially ruthless, especially promising. They were given no shield, no heavy armor, no escort, only a dagger, simple clothes, minimal food. Their orders were brutally clear. Hide by day, move by night. Hunt the helots, not random slaughter. That would be wasteful. They were to target the strongest, the boldest, the ones who seemed too confident, too organized, anyone who might be a seed of rebellion. Sparta did not wait for revolt. It cut down the crop preemptively. Imagine the boy who has survived hunger, whips, humiliation, and the altar of Artemis. He has been taught that stealth is virtue, that pain is silence, that the state is God. Now the state turns and says, prove it. Slip into a hut at midnight. Watch a man sleeping beside his wife. Decide he looks too proud. Drive the blade into his throat. No trumpet, no battle line, no hero's speech. Just a quiet death in the dirt. This is the final exam. If the recruit flinches, if his hand shakes, if he hesitates to kill an unarmed serf in cold blood, then everything the Agoge tried to burn out of him still lives. Pity, doubt, a sense that some lives shouldn't be tools. Sparta had no place for that. By calling it war, they laundered it. By doing it at night, they hid it. By sending the youngest, they finished what they had begun at 7. The Crypteia was not just terror for the helots. It was mutilation of the Spartan soul. When one of these boys came back, praised as worthy, he had crossed a line from which there is no return. He was now exactly what the system wanted. A disciplined, efficient, believing killer. A perfect citizen, or a perfect monster. In Sparta, those words had become the same. In most of Greece, a wedding was a family's proud display. Feasts, songs, public alliances. In Sparta, marriage was something stranger. Half sacred duty, half covert operation. By 30, the Spartan man, if he had survived training, Crypteia, and war, finally earned the right to live as a full citizen. But even then, his time did not belong to a wife. It belonged to the barracks, the mess hall, the ranks. The city now demanded one more service from him. Replicate yourself. His bride had been forged by a parallel system. Spartan girls, unlike their sheltered Athenian cousins, grew up in the open, racing, wrestling, training, singing sharp songs about courage and cowardice. They learned to manage estates, to command slaves, to speak with a confidence that shocked other Greeks. All of it tuned toward a single objective: become mothers of strong warriors. The match between them was not a romance. It was the collision of two state-crafted instruments. The wedding ritual itself revealed the logic. No veils of gold, no perfumed procession. Instead, the bride's head is shaved. Her hair, symbol of youth and softness, falls to the floor. She is dressed in a simple cloak and sandals like a boy's, laid alone in a dark room on a straw bed, transformed into a kind of androgynous, anonymous body. Then at night, the groom slips away from his comrades. He must move in secret, like an infiltrator, climb from the barracks, cross the sleeping city, enter the room, consummate the union quickly, and vanish before dawn back to his real family, his military mess. If he is caught, shame, punishment, not for adultery, but for failing in stealth, for prioritizing the woman over the unit. Desire is allowed only as a weaponized spark, enough to make them seek each other out, never enough to anchor them. To modernize, it looks ritualistic, even theatrical. To Sparta, it was precision engineering. Short, intense, hidden encounters were believed to fuel attraction and fertility, while denying the comfort of domestic life. Husband and wife rarely shared days, meals, routines. They met as shadows. Children conceived in those visits were conceived under the sign of urgency, not tenderness. Behind this choreography sits the real point. The state feared private loyalties. A man too attached to home might hesitate in war. A woman too attached to her husband might question sending her sons to die. So Sparta built a marriage where passion served biology, and biology served the city. Two perfect products of the system met in the dark, not to build a life, but to feed the machine. For 3 centuries, the Spartan system looked invincible. From the outside, it was terrifying elegance. Every birth inspected, every child hardened, every citizen a soldier, every doubt smothered under ritual and law. Other Greeks shivered, admired, stole fragments. Rome, centuries later, would turn Sparta into a legend of discipline. But legends are bad at math. Begin with the cliff. Every rejected infant, whether many or few, was a cut in Sparta's own future. Add the sterile marriages, the strict requirements. The refusal to count anyone but the purest Spartiates as equals. Subtract those burned away by the Agoge, the Crypteia, the whips, the endless campaigns. The result was a slow, invisible amputation. Every fallen hoplite was not just a man. He was 30 years of training, a carefully filtered bloodline, and the potential father of more such men. When he died, he took an entire branch of the state's investment with him. Victories bled them. Defeats gutted them. Meanwhile, enemies multiplied from broader bases. The helots endured. Other Greeks, less perfect, could lose thousands and recover. Sparta could not afford to lose hundreds. Purity, enforced as policy, narrowed the pipeline until the vaunted army of equals shrank to a brittle core. Then came success's second poison, wealth. After defeating Athens in the Peloponnesian War, Sparta found itself flooded with Persian gold and imperial temptations. The old lawgiver Lycurgus had warned against money. Now coin bought exemptions, influence, comfort. Land concentrated in fewer hands. Some Spartiates grew rich and soft. Others slipped below the property line required for full citizenship. The warrior caste, already tiny, fractured. The Agoge still hammered boys. The rituals still spilled blood. The ideology still snarled against weakness. But the numbers beneath the roar were collapsing. A perfect machine, still spinning, with nothing left to feed it. And when a new kind of enemy appeared, Thebes under Epaminondas at Leuctra in 371 BC, Sparta met him with the same old formation, the same sacred right wing, the same faith that courage and habit would suffice. Thebes broke them with innovation, a massed deep column hurled precisely where Spartan pride stood thickest. 400 of Sparta's finest died there, including a king. In another city, a disaster. In Sparta, a sentence. There were too few left to replace them. Too few fathers, too many graves. The system built to erase weakness had erased resilience. In the end, Sparta did not fall because it lacked heroes. It fell because it had built a society where only heroes counted, and heroes eventually run out.